In a league where 15 points per quarter is the offensive average, the Philadelphia Soul defense held their opponent to 19 points total through the first three quarters. They're back on track. We got this. Walk the Plank is presented by Foods Galore, preferred food supplier for Chickies and Pete's since the start. Bargain Car, Truck and Van Rental in Brookhaven, Broomall, and Chadds Ford. Bradford White Water Heaters, the official water heater of the Philadelphia Soul. Geno's Steaks, the best cheesesteaks in Philadelphia since 1966. Susquehanna Bank, the preferred banking partner of the Philadelphia Soul. Valley Forge Casino Resort, located just 2 minutes from the King of Prussia Mall on North Gulf Road. And by Bud Light. Here we go. It's called Walk the Plank. The head coach of the Philadelphia Soul, Doug Plank. Hello, everyone. I'm Lou Tilley. Welcome back to the Soul Show from Chickies and Pete's, the Bookbinders Bar. It's kind of the clubhouse, if you will, of the Philadelphia Soul, along with Doug Plank, who's back with us this week. And after coming back from the road, where the Soul are now 5-1, by the way, and have built their season record to 8-3. I know why you're laughing. This is after a big head-to-head win against divisional foe against Cleveland. And Doug, as we said in the tease, you hold Cleveland to just 19 points through the first three quarters of the game, and it could have been even better for your team. But I know why you're laughing. This story really goes back to the week before, doesn't it, in Spokane?
Yeah, there's no doubt. Every game that you play, there's two things that matter. The last time you played that team, what happened? And the last time we played Cleveland, we had lost. But more importantly, what happened your last game? What was your team doing the last time they were not there on the field? And we went to Spokane, and obviously it was an embarrassing situation for us. And I know that the coaching staff as well as the players were looking forward to this game just to try to erase that memory.
That was the only road loss of the season. That's why I was referencing that. And at one point in that game at Spokane, you were down 27 points and then 30 points, although you clawed back to within 10 in a furious comeback. But no margin for error. You go to Cleveland this past week, and for one thing, if Cleveland had won, they would have leapfrogged ahead of you for the first time all year into first place. Now, this was a team that had gotten chippy. We'll use that phrase with you when they beat you here in Philadelphia. Some pregame fighting. Sure. And now you tell me that is their MO, and that continued this week in Cleveland.
Well, it did. There was a lot of verbal confrontation take place before the game and even like during the game. And there were a few episodes where the players in mass kind of got together. It looked like a fight was getting ready to break out. And no matter how much you warn or alert your players to being calm and under control, football is an emotional sport. And those emotions just come out as they did in this football game.
This show, Walk the Plank, is brought to you by Foods Galore, our prime sponsor of the show, and they want you to know about a new line, an exclusive product they have out now called Artisan's Pride. It's available exclusively at Crystal Lake Thriftway and Shop and Bag in Richboro, Pennsylvania. And to give you an idea, Scotty Kindness told me it's sort of like Boar's Head deli meats, only $1.50 on average less for you, and that's good meat for you. And Doug, you brought some hard, you threw some slabs at these guys from Cleveland. You put it right back in their face, especially on defense, with 8 stops in the AFL, in contrast to a week ago in Spokane when you only had 1.
You know, we mixed things up a little bit. Obviously, we ran some different coverages. I can't say enough about our pass rush. I think that they really took on the challenge. They kept the quarterback in the pocket. Last week, we allowed the quarterback a lot of times to sneak out of the pocket, buy himself some additional time, find open receivers downfield. So this was really, I think, a good game plan for us. And again, teams go up and down. You know, how good a team is how well they can play on a consistent basis. Not whether they're real high and real low, but try to put that same performance on the field. That's what our goal was. And, you know, we fortunately got back to playing Soul football against the Cleveland team.
With the win, the Soul move ahead again of Cleveland by a game and a half at 8-3 now. Cleveland falls to 6-4 in the standings, and just 7 games left now in the regular season. When we come back, Bud Light will bring us the highlights of the game in Cleveland. We'll go through them with Coach Plank. We'll have a special feature for you as well, but we want to tell you about the next game on the schedule. It's coming up this weekend ahead, and right here in Philadelphia as the Soul come back to the Wells Fargo Center to take on Orlando in a 7:05 kickoff. Get your tickets now at 888-789-SOUL or PhiladelphiaSoul.com. We'll also be televising that one for you, and we'll be right back with more Walk the Plank.
If you've been seriously injured in an auto accident, remember this name. If you're being pressured by the insurance company to take a settlement that isn't fair, remember this name. If you need someone to fight for you to get the money you deserve, remember this name. Lundy Law. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW. Winning millions for clients in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware for over 50 years.
We got this!
7 wins in their first 9 games. The best record in all of the Arena League at midseason. Heading towards another title, your Philadelphia Soul. Be there for their next home showing, Saturday, June 2 at the Wells Fargo Center.
We got this!
You have 25 hours of things to do every day and just 24 hours to do them. Finding time to manage your money can be a chore. Susquehanna Bank offers a variety of checking options to help. Whether you're on the road, at home, or anywhere in between. And even though convenience is its own reward, it's just one of the many we offer. Susquehanna Bank, doing what counts for busy people like you. Member FDIC.
Scott, he's doing a great job for us, whether it be, the steak meat, the lobster, everything is our own brand. It's a testimonial to Foods Galore.
Service is what's made our company. Loyalty, reliability, honesty. Your growth was one of the main reasons why I evolved in the business.
People look at Chicky and Pete's as a success story, but it's actually your success story. It works just like a marriage, because I still have my wife and I still have you.
Why, Doug Plank, they call this the Bookbinders Bar here at Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia?
I have no idea.
Bookbinders was a very famous restaurant that you probably visited when you used to come here with the Chicago Bears, because that was like a must-see place to come to.
Wow.
Specialized in seafood in the old days. It no longer existed. Chicky and Pete's is probably the equivalent of it now, but the Bookbinder Bar is where we are here. It's also home to the Soul after their home games for VIP, season ticket holders, and that kind of thing. And so if you're coming down and haven't caught a home game yet, this coming June 2nd, Saturday night, as the team takes on Orlando. We'll get into that for a second. First, the big win in Cleveland. You don't fall for the bait of the nasty stuff, no pregame fights like the last 2 times you get together. And instead, you guys play real football. And what jumps out at me in your win, not only holding them to just 19 points through 3 quarters, which is extraordinary, but your running back was a real running back. Derek Ross carried the ball in the pass-happy Arena League 21 times. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from Bud Light. Here you go. Was that in the game plan, to play old-fashioned football?
There's no doubt. Having someone like Derek Ross on your team, he not only eats up the clock as far as your offense is concerned, but he picks up those tough yards. It's tough to consistently throw and pick up first downs over and over and over again. A lot of plays are very short yardage, and it's easier to get a running back like a Derek Ross, especially with the determination. I mean, what's great about him is he's not one of those big linemen that a lot of teams use to stick in the backfield.
Pounders, yeah.
When he gets in the open, look out, he is going down to the end zone.
Guys don't like to tackle him.
No,
I've noticed that.
He wears down the defense. So, and plus, when you line up as a former defender, I always hated those teams that had equal balance of running and also passing.
Yeah.
So you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we bring to bear in the Arena Football League, the ability to not only run the football but also pass it.
Look, we know each other well. I was in Spokane. I think I can say this. The loss at Spokane was a bomb on both sides of the ball. You turned the ball over, you didn't stop them at all. You did completely the opposite here in Cleveland. In 1 week's time, I know you went out there determined to show that you could play defense. But you also seem to trim your offense down. I don't want to say dumb it down, But Dan Radeball only had 157 passing yards for the entire game, and you had to win by 22. How'd you do that?
You know what? I think arena football is about turnovers. Getting more turnovers than your opponent. I hate to say it's that simple, but it really is. And that's not to say that you don't have to have an offense and a defense. But if you can protect the football, in other words, don't fumble it, don't turn the ball over with interceptions. And on the flip side, your defense has to be aggressive. You can't work your way towards victory by backpedaling. I tell our defensive backs that all the time. There are times where you have to make plays, you have to break on the ball, you got to make tackles, get interceptions. That's what we did against Cleveland. We played aggressive, and it worked.
And you're making some major changes on your defense now. In the last 2 weeks, and at the time, you were 7-2 on the 7-2 on the season. You have made 5 personnel changes on defense out of your 8 players, particularly along that front 3. And in your defensive backfield now. What is it you're going for here, Doug?
I'm just going for consistency. I think the biggest thing about good and great teams is that they show up every week and they're the same team. And there are teams out there, and I felt like our team over a 3 or 4 week period, we were like a roller coaster, up and down, and you can't have any success that way. You really need to, even things out, and part of that is with attitude, but part of it's also with personnel. There are personnel out there that are available that we could find to help supplement our team. And I'm not trying to do some wholesale change or anything like that, but when teams start looking at your team, especially defensively, and they keep attacking in one specific area, and that's on film, well, now every single team after that is going to consistently go for that same area of your defense. So it's important for us that I look at the big picture, whether it's secondary or pass rush, and say, you know what, we have to be capable and qualified at all these positions.
Now, you talked about the importance of turnovers. There's another bad trend here. For the 3rd straight game, quarterback Dan Radeball, who led the league in passing efficiency up until then, has thrown at least 2 interceptions in 3 consecutive games. Are you concerned?
I think any coach is concerned, when you have turnovers that consistently show up. Dan's a smart, excellent quarterback in terms of getting rid of the ball on time, accurately delivering the football. Don't forget, I'm not going to try to make anything less of Cleveland's defense. They were the #1 defense in the Arena Football League in terms of total yards, scoring, 3rd down efficiency. So we played against a very, very good defense. Does that mean I don't care about what happened as far as interceptions and turnovers? Yeah, I still care. But I think looking at some of the other games that are coming up here in the next couple weeks, that'll give us a better idea on where we are in terms of protecting the football.
55-33, the Soul win the head-to-head battle at Cleveland and knock Force a little bit into the background here. 55-33, the final on the road. They come home now to take on Orlando. We'll be telling you about the home game, how you can get your tickets, and if not, how you can watch it on TV. And when we come right back from Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia, a special feature on Pete Cherokee, who, in case you didn't know it, is one of the owners of the Philadelphia Soul. The next game, as we say, June 2 against Orlando at the Wells Fargo Center. Get your tickets at 888-789-SOUL or by going to PhiladelphiaSoul.com. We'll be right back with more Walk the Plank.
We got this!
7 wins in their first 9 games. The best record in all of the Arena League at midseason. Heading towards another title, your Philadelphia Soul. Be there for their next home showing, Saturday, June 2 at the Wells Fargo Center.
We got this!
I do a lot of weird stuff to save money.
Carpooling.
We clip coupons. Coupons. Coupons.
You gotta eat leftovers, man. You got to.
Susquehanna Bank knows you're always looking for ways to save money.
Well, I eat in a lot more than I used to.
I use this to get places.
I buy generic everything. We use those swirly light bulbs.
You work hard for your money, and Susquehanna can help you keep more of it with free checking. Open your account today. Susquehanna Bank, doing what counts. Member FDIC.
If you've been seriously injured in an auto accident, remember this name. If you're being pressured by the insurance company to take a settlement that isn't fair, remember this name. If you need someone to fight for you to get the money you deserve, remember this name, Lundy Law. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW. Winning millions for clients in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware for over 50 years.
Hi, this is Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Chicky and Pete's has been recognized as the best sports bar in North America. We couldn't have done it without you, our loyal fans. You know, the Philadelphia sports fan wears their heart on their sleeve and has the enthusiasm like no other city in America. So at this time, we'd like to thank you for supporting your teams and supporting us at Chicky and Pete's, making us #1. Come down to Chicky and Pete's at Packer Avenue and see the trophy for being the #1 sports bar in North America. We'll see you here at Chicky and Pete's.
The Soul go to 8-3 on the season with a head-to-head win on the road at Cleveland. 21-19, tight game, Soul leading at the half, but then they run off 27 consecutive points to lead by 48-19 and then close it out 55-33. Lou Tilley along with Coach Doug Plank. You added a new defensive back this week, and Larico Stevenson. He came up with some big plays, and you welcome back Donovan Morgan as well. Quick word about having Captain Morgan back in your offensive lineup.
It's amazing just the addition of just one player, how much impact it can have on a team. But Donovan Morgan, he's been such a huge staple of the Soul for a number of years. But you know, you don't bring him back in a room and say, I didn't know he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, he's a huge individual, big arms, you know, big hands, and a big personality.
Yeah.
So having him back was really emotional for us, and it brought momentum coming into the game.
Made one of his standard one-hand touchdown grabs that he's known for. Talk about big personalities and guys that are important to the Soul. Their ownership group is really the heart and soul of this team. We've talked about them in the past. It includes Ron Jaworski and, of course, Craig Spencer, but also our home base, Pete Cherokee, and his roots in Philadelphia and in football go way back.
And so it was me and my mom, because I'm going to call it Chicky and Pete's, and my mom being Chicky. I'm going to give you top billing, Chick, and she's sort of like that. And the sign actually said Chickies and Pete's when it got delivered, but it was supposed to be Chicky and Pete's. But because he spelled it wrong, we got it half price. So never knowing that the place was going to become famous.
Pete Cherokee. Pete as in Chickies and Pete's. And yes, it was spelled wrong, but the name stuck and grew into a giant of sports bars and fun.
Yeah, I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, Castor Gardens. Great neighborhood to grow up, manicured. And I went to a public school up there, and of course I went to high school, Northeast High School, which is like the highest part of my education, is Northeast High School. So I do give back to the community up there as far as Northeast High School. I love my high school. I never missed a high school football game, and I played football there, and I went right to work after that. I mean, this was something in my family, you learned what your father learned. My father had a grocery store, and
Like a little corner grocery store?
a little corner deli, yeah. It really wasn't anything to speak of, although it was very busy. And one day he decided that he wanted to purchase the bar at the corner where he would occasionally have a cocktail, like every day. And he purchased this. He spoke to my mother, and she said, "No, absolutely not, because you drink too much, and you'll drink like you'll be there every day." Yeah. He goes, "No, it'll be like the deli, hon." He said, "In the deli, I don't eat lunch meat every day." And she was like, "What?" She goes, "And Peter, your son, he loves this kind of business. He's going to be great at this."
Pete was a huge supporter of the Soul from the start because it came from his heart and his passion for the game he loves of football.
I love being at the games, and my children love being at the games, and my friends love being at the games, and going into the locker room after the game and listening to the coaches and so on. It brings me back to the old days at Northeast High School. Not the same level, it's a much higher level, but to me, that's all I knew was football. And I love being an owner of a Soul. It's your army. Your army against a city's army, another army. So if you're playing New York, it's you against them. It's their best against your best army. Of course, there's no guns like there was years ago. Hundreds of years ago, that's what they had. Now we just have players. And I love being a part of it. And when the Soul came to Philadelphia and they asked me to be part of it, not as an owner, but only as an advertiser and spiritually and like to get the guys together and introduce them to the city of Philadelphia, I jumped at it.
And Chickies and Pete's, South Philly has become the off-the-field home of the Soul. The Soul fans' own locker room, if you will, where you're invited after every game. And for big announcements, like naming Doug Plank as the new head coach. And special events, like the night the team was there to size the fans' fingers for championship rings for the championship season to come.
Man, you know, Pete Cherokee and I both went to the same high school together. I'm proud to say he played ball there too, like I did. But I love that imagery about the football team being your town's little army. I like that, and so does the rest of the Soul ownership. Ron Jaworski, we talked about Craig Spencer, who owns the Ritz-Carlton in downtown Philly, been one of the owners from the start, along with Cosmo DeNicola and my partner in Lou Tilley Media, the producers of these shows, and the broadcast, Marty Judge, who loves football. And believe me, all these guys, if you could put pads and helmets on them, they would at least cover kicks. Believe me, they'd break up some wedges. You got to come down and see this team, and if you haven't, come on down this coming Saturday night when they take on the Orlando Predators at the Wells Fargo Center. 7 o'clock kickoff. Be there. Get your tickets right there. You can see it on the screen or watch it on TV with us, and we'll be right back.
If you've been seriously injured in an auto accident, remember this name. If you're being pressured by the insurance company to take a settlement that isn't fair, remember this name. If you need someone to fight for you to get the money you deserve, remember this name. Lundy Law. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW. Winning millions for clients in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware for over 50 years.
Scott, he's doing a great job for us, whether it be, you know, the steak meat, the lobster, everything is our own brand. It's a testimonial to Foods Galore.
Service is what's made our company. Loyalty, reliability, honesty. Your growth was one of the main reasons why I evolved in the business.
People look at Chicky and Pete's as a success story, but it's actually your success story. It works just like a marriage, because I still have my wife and I still have you.
So, Mr. Jaworski, we wanted to show you the new packaging for Goldenberg's Peanut Chews. Of course, it still has the same original chewy, chocolatey, peanutty taste. Would you like to try one?
Sure.
So?
Man, these are really good. Mm-hmm. What? Now that's chewing it old school.
We got this!
7 wins in their first 9 games. The best record in all of the Arena League at midseason. Heading towards another title, your Philadelphia Soul. Be there for their next home showing, Saturday, June 2 at the Wells Fargo Center.
We got this!
The Soul Injury Report is brought to you by 1-800-LUNDY-LAW. And for this Saturday's game at the Wells Fargo Center at home against Orlando, Dusty Baer is out again. Devin Clark's doubtful. Larry Bracken's questionable. They miss him on special teams, the big, tall, wide receiver. And probable, the center, Carvalho, and probable Emery Salmons, the big, strong, tall, wide receiver. Injury Report is brought to you again by 1-800-LUNDY-LAW, injury and disability lawyers serving PA, New Jersey, and Delaware. Lundy Law is the official law firm of the Philadelphia Soul. I'm Lou Tilley, back on Walk the Plank, along with Doug Plank, and looking forward to this home game now, the Wells Fargo Center against Orlando, the Predators. With only one win on the season, Doug, and yet when we were down there to televise their game in Florida, they gave you fits, at least through the first half anyway.
Yeah, they sure did. We turned the ball over a couple times. They also tried some onside kicks. So they have a very, very capable kicker. And they're a team that they're two stories, the first half and then the second half. Game after game, they've come out and dominated teams in the first half. If for some reason they lose the momentum, their concentration, second half, teams are able to come back on them. You know, Pittsburgh early in the year, I think made up like a 24-point deficit, which had never been done in arena football before. So, you know, but it's a dangerous team. They have good athletes on the team. they're just still trying to find themselves, especially offensively.
And those highlights from the last Orlando game brought to you by Bud Light. Here we go. Bud Light, an official sponsor of the Philadelphia Soul, along with Foods Galore, the maker of Artisan's Prides, their exclusive new line of meats. Doug, you continue to make changes on your defensive side primarily, and you brought in yet another defensive back in the last 2 weeks now. You've traded for 2 new guys in your defensive secondary.
Well, I think sometimes when you look at your team, if it's not being productive, if you're not winning, losing allows you to make changes because whatever you're doing is not working. And so we're just still trying to find that right combination. The team has done well so far up to this point in time, but you can always look at games and say, if we would have only done this, we could have been a much better team. We wouldn't have had a struggle at the end of the fourth quarter. And that's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to make this any more of a unsettled situation, but anytime we can to upgrade our team, I have a responsibility to do that.
Doug and his team and the Soul ownership, always so active in the community, they have another what they call town takeover coming up on Friday in advance of the game on Saturday. It'll be in Evesham Township out there in New Jersey, not far from Voorhees, right on Route 73. So look for that if you're local out there. Come on out. Coach will be there. They'll have a practice right there in the street. Ron Jaworski will be there. Yes, are you having fun with these, Doug?
No, they're fun. You know what's fun about it? You actually get a chance to really interact with all the fans. I mean, not just 20, 30 feet away up at the stands, but they are actually down there on the practice facility. And once we get past the initial part of the practice, we start inviting especially younger fans down onto the field and to run patterns, throw the football, whatever the case might be. It really gives them a chance to get the feel of what it's like to be an Arena Football League player.
That's coming up Friday in Evesham Township, Friday evening. Check your local papers, check the Soul website for that. And that's in advance of this weekend's game, the next big one. The Soul come in at 8 and 3 to take on the Orlando Predators at the Wells Fargo Center. Get your tickets now by calling 888-789-SOUL or going online at PhiladelphiaSoul.com. And if you can't make it there, we're carrying the game live for you on Comcast Sportsnet. Tom Goodines and I will do the call for you. And on Facebook, if you'll go to the Soul page, find them and like them, you're automatically entered to win a pair of all-expense-paid trip tickets to the Arena Bowl in New Orleans this coming August. And of course, the Soul expect to be there and go back to where they won the championship in 2008. And also, if your child has a birthday coming up, there's a special group discount available to you if you'll contact the Soul at 888-789-SOUL or go online at PhiladelphiaSoul.com. You guys always have so much going on, but I know you just want to keep this team focused and put another W up with just 7 games left in your regular season, Doug.
Yeah, it's important. It's hard to believe that the season is over halfway gone already. It seemed like it just started just a couple weeks ago.
And the end will be here quicker than you know, and we hope it goes all the way to New Orleans, as we said. Along with Doug Plank, I'm Lou Tilley. From everyone from the Philadelphia Soul, Chickies and Pete's, Foods Galore, we thank you, and we'll see you again next week, but we want to see you Saturday at the game.
Walk the Plank is presented by Valley Forge Casino Resort, located just 2 minutes from the King of Prussia Mall on North Gulf Road. And by Bud Light. Here we go.